Man with Gareth McGuinness.
Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to our 12th Man podcast. And it's a big one this morning, even though there's maybe not much on the line. We did this back in September, and it was a very, very entertaining show. But bank holiday weekend, jazz festivals on town, boys. So we'll try and give our own bit of a jazz this morning. Dilly has made it, as always, lit. 10 minutes on the door, but he's here. Callum and Meets, as ever, reliable and here. Boys, we'll start off with Liverpool, with them being the home team. So, Jared, just you get all your thoughts there, because I know you're just on the door. And try and, in the next 5 minutes or so, just try and get your facts right, all right? Because people have been texting me, is Bobby back on? I mean, brilliant. But, Callum, let's start with you, because you're going to the game on Saturday. On Sunday. You're also going to the Liverpool Wolves game, Klopp's final 2 games. And Klopp came out yesterday, and he says, "Forget about my last games. I've got 500 reasons why I want to beat Spurs." Is that the general feeling amongst Liverpool fans, that despite maybe not much on the line, there is the Klopp factor as the last couple of games, but that they owe Spurs after what happened back in September?
100%. We were all. I mean, this podcast back in September, like it was last week. Now we were all chatting about two teams going at the top of the league, like, and now we're in May. Like, it's madness, but 100%. No, we always want to be Spurs. You haven't won there in a long, long time, so we don't want that to start now. And I think it just sums up Klopp the way he's been the whole time now, the whole 8-9 years. Doesn't matter if nothing's on the line; he wants to win. Like, so, well, of course, we'll be in for an entertaining game again. Like, but I suppose as well with him leaving now next couple of weeks, there are only 2 home games left, like, so it's a must win for all. Like.
Mates, what about you? Have you forgotten about what happened in September yet?
No, it's hard to forget about that. It kicked off the whole season of VAR and all the frustrations, and not just us, but every single football fan has felt some part of it with the mistakes it's made this season. But Klopp's just being himself. He's just deflecting it. Both teams, realistically, we don't have nothing to play for anymore now. Do you know what I mean? It's been a massive shift in the last 5 weeks. So I think the press are just putting it on, it's all about Klopp. It's all about Klopp now. It's his last 2 games, and he's just doing the best to deflect it off the attention off himself. So we're on for an we're talking off air that we're on extremely entertaining game tomorrow. 2 teams that can't defend. And have plenty of shots in goal, but that doesn't always hit the back of the net. But I think tomorrow it's going to be end to end, and a game I'm looking forward to, and a slight bit of revenge I'm thinking in the back of my head as well. But no, looking forward to it. Should be a good night.
Jared, how about you? I mean, this is always an entertaining fixture. We've seen what happened on this very same weekend last year. It was the bank holiday Sunday. Do you think, even though it's both teams are on a bit of a bad run, that moment last September, the game last year when Spurs lost it at the end after coming 3-0 down, and the fact that Klopp's almost done at Liverpool, there is something meaningful in this game, and Spurs haven't beat Liverpool at Anfield under Jurgen Klopp, so that's an incentive for Spurs to go there and try and get that one.
Well, normally at Anfield, the atmosphere is electric for Spurs. Liverpool has been this last maybe 20 years, maybe a bit more. But at the same time, Klopp will want to go out with a bang. And on paper, the squad that Liverpool has compared to ours, like Ange is only there, 8 months on their rebuild. So at the same time, things are just sort of falling away this last 5-6 weeks. But at the same time, Klopp's got a squad there what he's built since 2015-16, like, so. At the end of the day, there's a gulf on the squads. What he can bring on the bench and what we can bring on the bench, but at the same time, going back to what way the game's going to be and what sort of atmosphere it's going to be, electric. And at the end of the day, I don't hold out much hope for us. Never do when I go to Anfield. But at the same time, if you're taking it back to September, I don't think it was Spurs' problem was lie in the result that day. The sending off changed the game, obviously, and the goal then changed it. But that was down to the officials, and so that's what we had to deal with all season, was professional officials getting it so wrong and refereeing the game from Stanley Park or wherever. Like, you know what I mean? The Premier League's a joke, and it's a joke now the way things are going.
Stockley Park.
Well, so you
Stanley
said
Park's outside Liverpool, outside Anfield, isn't it?
well, you said
Stanley
that.
Park's on
You
between
said
Everton.
Tom was going to the match on Saturday, Gareth, and it's Sunday, like so. You know what I mean?
We're only winding you up, Jared. We're only winding you up.
But no, whatever it is, Stockley Park, I don't get onto them things. As I say, the way the officiating has been done this season, Gareth, I'm sure every decent football fan or anybody knows anything, the officiating's been terrible from VAR, like, and that's ruined a lot of good games. The game, to be fair, the game was a brilliant game in September. Both teams going at it, and to be fair, Spurs played well and parts of it. And Liverpool were outstanding with 11 men. When they went down to 10 men, they had to adapt, and then the game changed and sort of ruined it. And I'm sure we, as fans, we didn't ask for that, but the officials decided to do it. Like, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, great introduction there, Jared. Summed it up well. Liverpool's problem should be with the officials and not Spurs, but ultimately Spurs were the beneficiaries of them officials on that day. Callum, I mean, you cast your mind back to 12 months ago. Liverpool were playing Spurs. Spurs had nothing on the line. Liverpool had a glimmer of force, but it was very unlikely they were ever going to get force. Albeit they were on a great run coming into that game at Anfield. And you could say it was a bit of a dead rubber similar to this, but it was probably the most entertaining game of last season. It's a different kind of Spurs style, but whenever Spurs had that counter-attack system, they always seemed to give Liverpool a tough game. What way do you think Spurs will go about it tomorrow at Anfield? Do you think it'll be similar to recent seasons? Because not too many teams go to Liverpool in dominant possession. We've seen Man City go there in March, and Liverpool had so much of the ball. Do you think this is a type of game that, even though Spurs play on the front foot, Liverpool will probably be the team that dominates more, and it could play in the Spurs' hands? Maybe they just sit off in the counter-attack, because in the last few weeks, Spurs have struggled against the likes of Fulham, against the likes of Chelsea, against the likes of Newcastle. They've had 70% possession. Even seen it against Arsenal, 72% possession first half, and they lose the game. So might this be an opportunity for Spurs just to maybe try something different?
100% they could, but I think Aaron's is very, very similar to the likes of Klopp. It doesn't matter if, as he said, it mind against that Chelsea match, if they had 5 men on the pitch, they're still sitting high and they're still going to try playing the front foot. That's just the way he plays. Like, I think even cast your mind back to September when we had 9 men, 10 men, we were still on top. We were still pinning you back until you got that there goal then. But I would be shocked if we're not the dominant side in the ball. Like, but I think it'll be a bit closer. You do go for it. You do want to kind of put your stamp on the game. That's the way he plays. I don't see you sitting back tomorrow and having a counter-attack style. I really don't. You're going to go for it, and it's going to be a proper entertaining game like it was in September. Like, but I just think how stubborn Ange is, and after Thursday night as well, he'd be right at them saying you aren't sitting back here at Anfield. Now you're going for it. Like,
yeah, mates. I mean, this game at Anfield. There's so many unhappy memories for Spurs fans, so many great memories for Liverpool fans. I think Liverpool have scored more late goals at Anfield against Spurs. They've scored the most late goals against Spurs of any other team in the league. Spurs have conceded more late goals against Liverpool more than any other team in the league. Most of them probably come at Anfield. Why do you think Liverpool score so many late goals at Anfield? And why do you we obviously score a lot of late goals, but they've scored the most against Spurs, and Spurs have made so many unforced errors like own goals, back passes, penalties at the end. Why do you think this seems to happen in this fixture, that you always feel, even if it's a draw going into the final few minutes, there's going to be a goal at one end, and it often results in Spurs missing a glorious opportunity and Liverpool punishing them at the other end?
I just think, there's no, the way that both teams set up, the way they play, there is no such thing as sitting back, seeing it out. If it's, remember, he's got back to 3-3. Remember, but Richarlison scored, and that was had to celebrate as if the game was done. He's got the point, and then still, instead of just sitting tight, just opened up again. Do you know what I mean? And just left spaces for Jota to run onto. It's just the mentality of the both teams. It's how they play the game. They just go to the last minute. Like, we've got the Anfield factor where we'll always keep on going. The fans demand it. You know what I mean? Sometimes they suck the ball into the net. They don't give up until the referee says that the job's done, like, and it's over and done with. But I think it's just the way they play football. It's a very attack-minded. You know, they've got attacking players all over the pitch, both teams, and I think tomorrow you're going to see a whole lot like that because, as we were talking before we come on too, there's a whole lot to play for. We have a new man coming in. There's people playing for places for next season. You're planning a red out. There's people going to, you know, want to show what they can do tomorrow, especially on such a big stage. And whether we can score these goals tomorrow is going to be the big thing, Gareth, you know what I mean? So I would be more confident Spurs going this time because of how out of form our front five are. Well, more or less than our front three. You know, we have a full squad that's completely out of form. I think tomorrow something has to give, and you know it has to click at some stage. We've been missing far too many chances in the last couple of games. It's basically blew our title hopes. But on a creative side, like we're still creating loads and loads, and you know hopefully tomorrow it clicks and we do start putting on a wee bit of form now and won these last couple of games. But an seriously entertaining game, lots and lots of goals. I believe tomorrow, and edge of your seat, and it's going to go right down to them last minutes, I believe, again.
Jared, just to continue on what Meets is saying there, we've seen so many times over the years Spurs suffer lethargic at Anfield, more down to probably their own doing. Like I can't remember too many wonder moments from Liverpool, and at the end of them games, it's been usually OGs, penalties. I mean, we think back to them Sissoko missed chances, you know, and these games over the last 4 or 5 years. I remember an Eric Dyer mistake, putting Salah clean through. There's been a number of times where Spurs have helped Liverpool out, but the rules kind of reversed in the game this year at home. Spurs obviously got a bit of luck from the officials, but Matip put free his own goal at the very end of the game, so it was a wee bit of revenge in that way. How much revenge do you think Liverpool will be out for tomorrow? I mean, the way the game went the last time, but also the fact Matip scored that own goal and helped Spurs out. And if you think back to last year, a lot of them Spurs players are still going to be thinking back to the euphoria of getting a 3-3 draw. I can't remember too many times Liverpool were 3-0 up at Anfield and done one. And you think you're going to be one of them teams to do it, and then they give away a soft goal. So how do you think the mindset of both teams will be going on to tomorrow? And Meats pointed out too, both teams are in quite poor form.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be too much in the heads of the Liverpool players, that result now. If it had been Liverpool playing tomorrow, they won the title, then there would have been extra momentum on the players to say, right, let's do this. I think they'll want to go out tomorrow and put on a performance for the fans. That's the fear. I can't see us. It depends. Look, the way it's going to be is we haven't a settled side at the moment. The keeper is getting targeted. The back four, well, Big Mickey's only back from injury. This last 3 or 4 games, he had a bad game against. He slept twice against, who was it? That one of the bottom teams, Newcastle. And then, as I say, he sort of played well against Arsenal, and sure, we all know the Chelsea game. But to be fair, you could give the 2 centre halves a bit of credit. They're the only ones probably that did fight for that game. Defensively, our fullbacks, like Porro, seems to have dropped off a bit. Emerson Royal doesn't even deserve to wear the shirt. He's fucking useless. The midfield hasn't been settled all year. The same with his front three. He doesn't know which ones he's playing. He probably played Werner if Werner had been fit. Like,
is that a worry, Jared? That he's chopping and changing that midfield and forward line so much. I mean, you've seen him making half-time changes, and it's worked to a certain extent in some games. And then he's rewarded them boys that's come on at half-time. He'll start in the next game, and he finds himself having to do the same changes, bringing off the boys that let him down the last time. They come on and play okay. Seems to be that whatever front three or midfield 3 he picks at the month hasn't doing it. He dropped Maddison on Thursday night. I think that was a mistake because Maddison come on, Spurs looked a bit better. Kulusevski didn't really work in that number 10 role. Do you think at the moment Ange is really struggling to get an 11 together?
I think he is, but I think at the same time too, I know Lo Celso was carrying a few knocks on between times, like, but I think you should give that man a chance. Like, you know, he's an Argentinian international, same as McAllister, same as Cudi. and both won the World Cup, and he deserves. He's an international player. He deserves to be in there. And in front of Basuma's been the poorest since the red cards and injuries. He's come back. He has never settled under that midfield. Højbjerg tried, and then I think the game that he did really play well was way back. I can't remember who we were playing against. He didn't start him in the next game. He brought Sarr and Basuma back in again, and they were terrible.
I think it was at the game. It was Brentford. They
Brentford,
cornered half time, and they were 1-0 down. They were 3-1 up after about 10 minutes in the second half.
I think Madison's another one after he's come back from injury. It hasn't been at the level.
We'll come back to talk about Spurs, lads. I want to focus on Liverpool for this next part. We'll come back to talk about Spurs before we preview the game. I mean, let's talk about where Liverpool were at the end of February, start of March. Callum, people were talking about quadruples. I know fans can get carried away, but even our fans, including myself, I thought there was a chance they could do something. At least one more trophy, maybe even two. Quadruple's a big ask, but you would have fancied they won 2 or 3 maybe of them trophies. And they haven't. It looks nailed on that they're going to finish with just the one now and a third place finish. I mean, as that disappointing from where Liverpool were at the beginning of March, you're thinking we've got 10 games left in the Premier League. They played excellent against Man City. You think about the FA Cup draw against United. You think United's in awful form. We can go there and get a result, and it would have been Coventry in the semi-final then, and you almost think you're in a final. And you look at the Europa League when Liverpool were strong favourites. They won it, and they came unstuck against Atalanta, who were excellent, as to be said. But is it a real disappointing ending for the club and Klopp?
I think in the context of where we were, I think you have to say it is. But I mean, the trophy and the top 4, I think in any other seasons, a top season, I think, really, compared to where we were last year as well. I think give the for one that context as well. But I think Klopp even really put loads of pressure on that squad. They try and win the Premier League. It really did, and I think it's shown in the end. And I think just coming under the run now, it showed that it's not quite the same team as we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years. We have Mane and Firmino and the athleticism and the physicality of that midfield with Wijnaldum, etc. And they're a team on the up, you would have to say, after the season, and they can build on it with a new manager now. But I think it just petered out at the end where we showed that they're decent players, they're a good squad, but they're not quite at the level of maybe Arsenal or definitely Man City. I mean, they haven't drawn a game nearly since December now. They think they do one every week nearly. So I thought the Europa League, I was convinced we would get to that final, 100%. Any other fan that said otherwise was lying, because we're out now. But I think we definitely would have got the Dublin final. I mean, how we didn't beat Man United this year over 3 games is unbelievable. We battered them 3 times and we couldn't win a game. I just don't understand that. I think
5 goals scored. 5 goals scored from 93 shots in them 3 games against United.
I think they showed a lack of experience and a lack of bottle, really, especially away them 2 away games in March and April. I think they really did, because they had them in the palm of their hands both of the games and they didn't finish it. So again, I think it's more evidence that they're kind of it's a new squad and they have to build on it, really. But it is a bit of a disappointing season, and they end up now from where we were. But all focus now will be on Klopp the next 2 games.
Yeah, mates, you were a big supporter of FSG in the summer, despite a lot of Liverpool fans everywhere you go, including some that come on this podcast, that were unhappy with the summer window, felt that there was a lack of ambition, not enough money spent, compared to when you see Arsenal signing Declan Rice for 105 million and Liverpool sign Endo for 17 million in the same position. Not so much just the money, the fact that no one had really heard of this player as well. And you look at how well Declan Rice has done at Arsenal, he's probably taken Arsenal to the next level. You think about the 2 big differences with Arsenal last year and this year. Is Saliba stays fit in the running and Declan Rice is in that midfield. Dad, for as big a supporter as you are, FSG, do you think that they sell Klopp a bit short last summer? I mean, now it looks like the squad's completely ran out of steam. He had, and to his credit, there was a lot of injuries back in January, February, and Liverpool managed it well. But you've seen the likes of McAllister as a perfect example. He had to play every single game, and he looks completely cooked now. Are they just squad-wise just not at the level they are 2 teams, and how much of that's down to the board and not really on the manager?
I don't really think it is. I think our summer transfer window turned out well. You know what I mean? We were ranting and raving about how good his signings were. whenever we were doing well. So we just can't blame them now that they fizzled out. You know what I mean? There was a lot asked for them. They were a young side. They've only started the gel together. We got away with a clanger, like we were going to offer 110 million for Caicedo. You know, and every one of them 3 players that we bought have been twice a player this season that he's been for Chelsea. So I think it's been managed well. And I look at it now and I'm thinking, you know, did they know the Klopp wasn't going to stay? So why give him this big, you know, to go and buy these players? Because it's not, they have to do it again now this summer now and give Slot, we think it's coming on. They're going to have to give him some money now. So would he just be getting rid of what Klopp brought in? You just don't know what way it works and what they knew about the situation that was going to unfold then just after Christmas. But no, I like McAllister was getting played out of position at the first half of the season. And then he was brilliant then after Christmas. Like he's arguably our best player. You know, since then he scored a few games in a row. He's bossing midfields. He had 3 or 4 man of the match awards. You know, so he did come on his own. We've been slaughtered with injuries. We were all excited about our top men coming back. So obviously he's been a shadow of himself in the second half of the season. Salah, as me and Callum were talking about, after a reoccurrence of an injury after Christmas, and he's done nothing. Nunez would break your heart. I don't really know what they think there anymore. You know what I mean? I'm backing them, but there's only so much you can take with a player. You know, when you pay a king's ransom of 85 million, I think we paid for him, and for to be missing chances that I would quite easily put away, to be honest. It's true. Like any other, you give them chances. Any other striker in the Premier League, and they're putting the ball in the back of the net. There's absolutely no question about it. And we just can't hide the fact that, you know, as a young player,
think it's more down to fine margins, because even though Liverpool haven't been at their best in recent fixtures, you look at Nunez and Diaz in particular, they've wasted glorious opportunities. And if they won, we're chatting about a different Liverpool team, aren't we?
We've imploded. We've imploded as a team. We have, you know, we waiting for all the bike cutters. They all come back. Robertson's been off a boil. You know, Diaz been off a boil. Salah's been off a boil. Nunez been off. It's very, very. I mean, our back four's shocking. You know, it's absolutely mental. Like the way them young boys have to be, the credit that they should be getting for how they performed when these big boys were out is absolutely shocking. Like how well they held our season together for the time they did. And I think it's a luck thing too, Gareth. It's very, very rare. In fact, I don't really remember that all your top players go out of form at the same time. It's crazy. Like you're sitting scratching your head going, the Man United games killed us. The league game at Old Trafford, like
yeah, United didn't have a shot in the first 45 minutes. Not even on a shot in the whole first half.
Hey, and Gareth, you have to remember too, we've been starting the game 1-0 down. Every game we start 1-0 down. We do.
Spurs will score first.
Boys, Jared, I mean, bring you on here because a lot of what Meets is saying is kind of very similar to Spurs. You know, they managed the period well between sort of November and January, although they had a bit of the results in the first couple of games probably went against them. They managed well. They kept themselves in that top 4 fight. You think about Van de Ven was out, Madison was out, Bentancur was out, Son was away at the Asian Cup, Richarlison was injured. You know, there's a number of players that were unavailable. Udogie was out injured, and Spurs kind of held themselves together with squad players who probably surprised a lot of the Spurs players. I mean, and Meets pointed out that a lot of Liverpool players went out of form, and you're kind of seeing the same as well. Van de Ven coming back. He's probably been the only one, but Madison's come back, Basuma's come back. Like completely different players, and you look at that front three of Spurs completely out of form. Do you think Spurs and Liverpool have a lot in common this season, and maybe Liverpool fans should think third place and the League Cup still a very, very good season?
Well, considering where Liverpool were at, I don't think it's a good season though, because at the end of the day, you know, they were the team that I thought was going to, looking at it the way they were playing, even when they brought young Bradley and all on, the way they were playing, they were showing that they were consistent, they were good, they were on the front foot, they scored for fun and the opportunities. You know, Arsenal don't build as many opportunities this season when you see the way their front three, you know, that scored goals for fun last year weren't even hitting close to the same figures. But I think what happened in Liverpool is the Klopp situation of him saying he was going. I think that was a bad move. I think that was a downfall from then on. Players and the players that you work with nowadays need confidence. And Klopp is the master of doing that, putting his arm around a player and getting the best out of him when he's come on. And like when you look at their midfield, they're in the same process as us. It's a completely new midfield this season. Declan Rice came on to Arsenal and they spent that money, but that's what's brought them forward is consistency and no injuries and consistency of players like Declan Rice, English-based player. And I find it's the same for Harry Kane. Last year, Harry Kane probably knew in his own head he was leaving Spurs, but he still put on the shift every week and carried us. Even it was a terrible season for us last year under Conte, but Kane was the one player that pulled us through the whole season, and that's what we don't have this year. And for Salah, I think Salah's head's already away. He's going in, and he knows probably Klopp was going, and he's underperforming. He's a quality footballer. Don't get me wrong; he can do the everyday things 100%. But when it comes to
often turns up against Spurs too.
Nah, well that's it. But the similarities are both similar, but Liverpool's.
Let's like we and we'll focus on Spurs now for the next few minutes. Because it looks now that Spurs have their top four chase, Champions League chase, whatever you want to call it, completely fuzzled out.
Yeah.
You think they are night before that Chelsea game kicked off, it was still very much achievable. If they had a bit Chelsea, they were back on it, 4 points behind with a game in hand. And Villa, especially what after happened to Villa on Thursday night as well, that psychologically it would have been a big blow to them. And you think this is a very different situation now, but Spurs have let Villa off the hook. And if you think back, Jared, when Spurs beat Villa in March, they were in a strong position. They were everybody's favourites for fourth. Since then, they've only won 2 from 7 and lost the other 5. And if you look at them, so there's some bad defeats on there. 3-0 to Fulham, 4-0 to Newcastle, 2-0 to Chelsea. Some poor performances as well. I mean, where do you think it's gone wrong? I mean, do you think it's very similar to Liverpool that a lot of the players come back from injury just haven't been found the level that they had in the first half of the season?
No, you're quite right to say that Villa game. Like I was impressed. I'm sure you were impressed. I thought, right, we'll kick on from this. We didn't. The teams. Who did we play after that? They targeted the keeper, Fulham. And they targeted our keeper, and that's been the same scenario the whole way through the season. And we always concede early. Like Liverpool talk about going 1-0 down. We go 1-0 down nearly most games too before we start playing. But usually, Ange has changed at half time, restructured the team, and it's worked out for us. But the mentality, there's no fight in that team. There's no mentality. There's no want to. They just seem way off it. As if well, Madison, I suppose injuries is a big bearing on it coming back, but it's on the end of the day, these players are getting paid big money and not to perform. It's a performance, and it's the simple things where you're set up. I think we need his coaching team's completely wrong. It's done on the field, and they're not doing what they should be doing, or the players are not listening to them. But at the end of the day, we are just completely on a backwards step now, because teams can read us like a book and know what way to play us. And the likes of
teams like Arsenal are sitting off Spurs because they know they're going to get opportunity. I mean, Arsenal, only our team I can remember doing that was possibly Anfield away, where they're playing a team level for level, and Man City away, where they probably fight Man City away. Like Arsenal have better players than Spurs, but they knew the best route to goal was they let Spurs have the ball and wait for the mistakes. And I mean, Spurs threw it away in that first half. We set pieces and getting caught in the counter attack. Callum, we've seen this bubbly, charismatic character in the first 10, 12 games of the season. You'd even say up until the last couple of months, even when things weren't going as well as they were in the opening stages, very laid back approach. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've seen this really angry, agitated, almost like a body double. It's like almost it's the same body, same face, but it's almost like a different person, almost like wearing a mask. And we've seen this so many times at Spurs over the years. We Pochettino, Mourinho, Conte, they come on. It's very bubbly, everyone's enjoying it, and then it just goes completely downhill. And I think Jamie Redknapp made a point the other night that Ange looks a beaten man. Whether that's down to pride or more so that he's given up, I would say it's probably pride more than anything, because from his press conference yesterday, he came back and he's saying that there's a lot of fire in him, and he's going to make changes, and we'll come on to them in a minute. But do you think it's worrying that Ange's sort of personality's just changed over the last couple of months? I mean, he's went from being a media love to being almost impossible to interview.
I mean, the media couldn't get enough of him in the start of the season, like, and now it's just completely flipped. Like, I think he's frustrated now. He knows himself and the players know the season's done. Like, he's aren't getting fourth, and it's just I've seen the clip of him shouting like, "No, stop playing the ball backwards on Thursday night." He's just completely losing the head. Like, I don't know, because I've seen the media too. I think maybe it's just been a build up a few weeks because they were asking about, oh, would you take fifth? And I was like, I don't take fifth. I only want first and all this year. And I mean, that's a good mentality to have and all, but I think it's just been a build up over a few weeks now. And then the likes of them last few results going against him. And then
set pieces as well that keeps coming up, and it keeps saying it's not an issue. And then they get the next game, they're conceding from a set piece. I think there's so much bubble.
Really poor goals conceding, and we've like some top defenders like one of the headers and the Mara and we're good enough at set pieces too, attacking them. Like, I think so. I think he's could be involved with the Mara with that there, but I think it's just so frustrating. I think he's trying his best, and then if we go out on a Saturday or something, aren't just doing it. As Jared said, he's being coached all week, and he's just aren't doing what that they're asking the players to do, and it's just he's banging his head like when he's going to change. So. And then that's probably what's come out of the media, and then where he's saying there's going to have to be exits because they're not doing what he wants them to do. Like,
we'll speak about them changes very shortly. I mean, Mitch, your thoughts on Ange, because from being this sort, as we said, everyone loved him at the start. He's not got too many friends in the media anymore because every interview he stormed out there all night in his press conference after the game. It only lasted 2 minutes and 15 seconds because he had enough of the questions being asked, and he told the Sky Sports reporter, "We've lost the game. Do you want me to write it on a dossier where it went wrong?" That kind of dry personality that's coming out. And Ange, I mean, do you think it's worrying that it's going like this, or do you think it's a moment in time and it's maybe just him going through this pain to get to the summer and refresh it again?
I think it's just part and parcel, just that job in general. It's just an on the spotlight job, and I know like Celtic is a big club, whatever, but it's not like the Premier League. You know what I mean? You're with the proper big boys now, like, and with all the facilities, the world class, they've got everything in place. I believe he's the right man for the job. I genuinely do. But as Callum says, like, you picture right, and there's been no cup competition and stuff like that. So he's been on the training pitch every game, 5-6 days, with a plan set out and doing it in training. And these boys are going out every week and not doing the simple things, the basic things in football. And he's just got to a point now where he's going, like, what am I dealing with? Like, these, and you can only defend him so often because he's the one that has to face the cameras, has to face all the questions.
I think that was the first time after the Chelsea game he says, "I have to take responsibility." So I think that's the first time he said that. Do you think something like that could be causing trouble behind the scenes because he is the manager and it's taken the 34th game in the season for him to sort of put it on himself? He's kind of always said that, we're on a journey. Some players aren't doing what I'm asking them to, sort of putting it on the players. And he is an older manager, as a wee bit old fashioned that way, and that maybe you have to be a bit more clever what you say in front of the camera.
I don't think so, because these professional footballers these days get away with absolute murder. You're going out there, that's not good enough. You're only being asked to show a bit of pride, a bit of heart. That's all you're being asked, and it's what fans expect. And he is the man that's going out and showing pride on the touchline and, fighting for the club. Like, he's doing it in front of the cameras week in, week out. And these footballers, they're all prima donnas. His tactics aren't old school. Do you know what I mean? He's in with a now football, the way he likes to play the game. And the way he speaks, he's defended his players for for 7 or 8 months, whatever it may be. And they're not giving him nothing back. So he has to, at some stage, he has to put the onus on them. It just has to be done. And he's saying now that people are fighting for their place, which is absolutely right. But I genuinely feel sorry for him, because he's not the first manager this has happened to with Spurs. This seems to be a repetitive thing. You know what I mean? So something has to give. Because you look at it, these players get kept on for the next manager and the next manager and the next manager. Where something now has to be going, no, hold on a minute. It's a red out, and this manager is now taking the reins, and that's just the way it should be. So I do think it puts you back another season if you do a big rebuild in the summer. because as we said before, these teams, if they gel together, they have to. So I wouldn't imagine, pulling up trees next year. But he did kind of say to himself all year, and he says it in front of the media, Champions League, and he's going, why is the league over? Is the league over? Why can we not? Has the league been won by somebody yet? He did keep going down that route.
Alluded to that.
And now they haven't even got the force back.
He's looking to set that mentality, but I do feel it looks a bit silly when you're saying that, Jared. Let's come on to you, because your demeanour there is kind of a bit like Ange's at the minute. From when I think back to September, you were in front of the camera, shoulders up, very serious, and it almost feels like it's hard work today. And I can sort of understand, because the last few weeks have been hard to take. Do you think about where this team was even just a few weeks ago when I was at that Nottingham Forest game? The atmosphere was kind of really, really good, and everybody was enjoying it. And over the last few games, I'm on a Spurs chat podcast, group chat with Chris Cowlin, and the whole demeanour in that chat's changed. And there's a lot of fans on social media that are starting to really question Ange. Jared, where are you at with Ange? And I mean, he spoke today that there's going to be yesterday there's going to be a massive summer of change at Spurs, including players, including staff. I mean, are you still very much supporting Ange and think he is the right man? They sort of bring Spurs back to where they were under the Pochettino days?
Oh, big time. As I say, Conte destroyed my complete love with Spurs. And I stated that at the start of the year, and I just had enough of Levy and him. I thought, what is Levy doing here? Mourinho one time, and then he brings on a more defensive coach, and Conte. We completely, only for Alexa Keane being there, he carried us. There's no doubt about it. You can't take that away. But let's face reality here, and let's be truthful about the thing. Ange's first season with us, I didn't think we would make Champions League. We got off to hell of a start, played great football. It was so refreshing. It made you think, this is the Spurs that I want to see. And I thought it was going to be more 4-3s and more of that, and that's the way it would go. But look, let's look at it here. Pochettino in his first season was nearly sacked. Klopp and Arteta had probably worse first seasons than us. They get battered. They get bigger batterings than us in their first season. Arsenal and Liverpool took a couple of bigger beatings than we did.
Both
apart maybe the Newcastle game. The Newcastle home and away was probably
first seasons.
But he's got a process. He's got a what he wants to achieve, and he's always stated that. I know he's been saying top four, and if we don't, but he wants to install that mentality. The mentality has been terrible at Spurs this last 6 years. 2015-16 was the last time you could even say we were forced to even compete, and since that, when Pochettino was let go, we never did. I know Mourinho had his style, but none of us enjoyed it. But we might have been up there in March, and then we dropped off the bandwagon. You know what I mean? And every club was going through difficult times at that time, just coming out of COVID and stuff like that, and getting the right guys onto the right mentality. But I think he's actually fed up now. He's fed up. He's installed what he's tried to do with the group of players he has, and he's seen it now for his own eyes that he can't keep defending them, so he has to come out and just say it as it is. You know what I mean? And
Meets has said there that he thinks it could possibly be unwise for Spurs to do another total rebuild in the summer. But do you think it's necessary, even if it means another season of maybe 5th or 6th, just to get the right players on, that they might have to go backwards, they go forwards on their Ange? Because the feeling that you get from Ange, and you've seen it with the contract he got last summer. I know contracts mean nothing, but he got the longest ever contract that a first manager ever signed when he came on Spurs. He said repeatedly in his press conference yesterday that the club share my vision. It kind of feels that where they've backed the players before and they've got rid of a manager, it kind of feels this time, unless it goes drastically wrong with results, they're going to go through that pain and back Ange and give him what he needs. They slowly but surely get them back up in the Champions League regularly and challenge them for trophies.
Yeah. No, I think that Levy has it set up that way with your man coming on from Aston Villa and stuff. And
because realistically, Jared, if they were to sack, where would they go? I think Levy has to give Ange time now because he's went round that many times.
That's it. Well, He'll probably go back to the line then of an English manager or something like that, like Graham Potter, and sure, it didn't work out with him with Chelsea. I know Chelsea's the hardest job to take in the Premier League, but no, I'm not going down that road. Ainge is the man for the job, and like if Ainge had stayed another season at Celtic and Klopp had announced he was going, he could have been going to Liverpool. Everybody knows he's a big Liverpool fan, and I'm sure if Liverpool come calling, then that would have been a different scenario. But let's face it, he is growing. As we talk about players growing and adapting and becoming better players, which Klopp has probably got out of his players, he'll not maybe get finishing with that squad. But Ainge will have players there that he knows, that he can trust, that he can get to play the way that he wants to play football. And it's a matter of getting the players that he doesn't want, as he said yesterday, that he can't work, that they can't see the same project as he does. They'll have to go, and they'll bring in new players, and it'll be a rebuilding job. And if it's another year of fuff, it's another year of fuff. Down the line, he has said the results will come when he has got what he wants, and he's sure of that, and I'm sure of that. So at the end of the day, it's back to the same old Spurs mentality, switching off, not doing their jobs. We play a good brand of football. There's nothing wrong with football under Ainge. It's just the smaller things, and it just shows you when Alexa Arteta can come, sit back, play, have against their weakness, play the ball over to Saka, Ben Davies caught, and Vicario, targeting him, and our players. We have no leader in there apart from Romero to stand and say, right, boys, let's have a bit of fight. He showed a bit of fight against Arsenal, but we need somebody that's going to protect the keeper and do different other things. But at the end of the day, Ainge is the right man for Spurs, and he's going in the right direction. It's just, let's face it,
it's going to take a wee bit longer than we hope, probably. Just
we get fifth, I'd be happy enough with that. I wanted Liverpool to win the league because I don't want Arsenal winning anything, but and I still hope City won it, and I still hope, even though you boys are anti-United, I hope United tank them boys the day at 12:30. Is it? No, it's Bournemouth today. Bournemouth
next United next Sunday at 4:30.
I Bournemouth to go there.
Final thoughts on Spurs, Callum, before we move on to Jurgen Klopp. I don't want to make it sound like it's a good thing now, but do you take the disappointment of maybe not finishing fourth and look at it and say in the summer, do you know what, maybe the Europa League's better off for Spurs? We've seen what happened with Newcastle this year, probably got the fourth unexpectedly, and they were ravaged with injuries and pulled apart, and they're on a fight now just to get any European football for next season. There's a danger that unless Spurs were going to significantly invest in the summer, they would have to bring in 3 or 4 top-class players to compete in the Champions League and the Premier League. I think that is the end goal. But we've seen it with Arteta. Arsenal were laughed at for that year. Conte finished above them, and Arsenal imploded. And then they come back and finish second, and at least going to get second this year. Could even win it if results go their way. You think it might be a bit of a blessing that Europa League, and the fact as well that the old format's gone. There's no Champions League teams going to drop on the Europa League, that Spurs could be one of the favourites for this competition next year, and that it'd be easier for them to manage Premier League and Europa League than it would have been Premier League, Champions League.
I sort of agree with that. I agree with what you boys are saying. I do think he is the right man for the job, 100%. And you just have to. He said he's aligned with the club, and the club's aligned with him, and you just have to give it time. I think he'll be looking at it. If you were to ask him that, he would say, no, I just want Champions League. I want us to install this mentality. I want to go straight into the Champions League and go for it. But even with Europa League, he might be going for cups and leagues. He's need a beefier squad now next season. He's need to bring players in. You've seen him this year. He's only really played 1 game a week. He's run down Europe, and he's went to the cups early, and he still really didn't get. He didn't get top 4 Aston Villa in the semi-final, and they're going to get fourth, and they had a better squad. I think it comes down to these squads. You look at Liverpool too. They went for a few trophies over the years. You need squads. I don't, as you see with Newcastle too, I do agree with that. They might have come too soon, but I don't know. I'd be shocked if Spurs.
That's an impossible question to answer. We don't know. I know what you mean,
I'd be shocked if Spurs won the Europa League next year. I'll tell you.
Mates, let's come on to talk about Jurgen Klopp, because it's the final countdown when it comes to Klopp's time at Liverpool. It's his penultimate home game, and although the Wolves game will be a special one, you kind of feel that the Spurs game, it's our last game against one of the better sides. And these Liverpool Spurs games, especially under Klopp, whatever manager he's faced, have often been dramatic, home and away. I can't remember a poor game between the two sides on Klopp's time there. And if you think back, maybe that defeat at Wembley was possibly the best defeat Klopp ever had as a manager at Liverpool, because it was the end of Lovren, it was the end of Mangala, it was Van Dijk, and it was Alisson after that, and they went to the Champions League final that same season and won the Champions League the year after, finishing second in Man City with 96 points. So, I mean, he'll have great memories of Spurs, more memories than Spurs fans will have a Klopp. But what kind of legacy do you think he leaves now at Liverpool? You know, he's won every cup there is. He's completely changed the mentality at Liverpool, I would say, for a number of years after Benitez left, was scrambling to even the fourth place. In the big games, they rarely turned up under these other managers, whereas under Klopp, even from his early days, I know Meets or Jared pointed out that Liverpool did finish safe. In his first season, he went to Chelsea and won. He went to Man City and won. You know, and it just carried on. They were always competitive in the big games. So, what do you think he leaves Liverpool with as a manager?
He leaves the club from top to bottom just in the best position it could be possibly in. He's done. He got us over the 30-year wait. When he first came on his first press conference, he said, "I'll win a title within 5 years." That's exactly. He told us straight out, "I'm not going to win it tomorrow. It's not going to be next year. It's not going." He says it will take time, and he told the fans that, and every Liverpool fan thought, right, well, that's okay. We can buy that. We'll take an 8th place finish, we'll 6th place finish, whatever it may be. But he just, from the day one, our first game was at Spurs in his first game, wasn't it? A 1-1 draw.
No draw.
But you could see straight away the style of play was implemented straight away from the get-go. And we were going, I can watch this every day of the week, not a problem. So the whole mentality changed, the way football should be played, and the way, obviously, Liverpool fans, and I would say majority of football fans want football to be played. You know, the high press and stuff, and just rock and roll football, as he called it. And everybody bought into it. He got us the Champions League final. We were bit. He won it the following year. Ended the 30-year wait. A few trophy cups along the way. He's a legend of the club, and I know, and I've seen all the things on Facebook. How can you call a legend? He's only hasn't won this, and he's won that. He won Premier League twice with probably the greatest Premier League team ever. Twice, 1 point. You know what I mean? You have to remember that. Won it in COVID with no crowds. You know what I mean? Most teams struggled because they had no backing behind them. They had no fans, but we just went out and blew the league away. You know, and not many teams done that. With push Man City every step of the way. With arguably their spending power compared to ours. You know what I mean? It's just what he's done has been ridiculous. And I remember at the very start when he started his brand of football, muscle injuries left, right, and centre with these players. You know, they weren't used to this type. They were just injured. We're getting loads and loads of injuries. Where he was bringing them up to just playing out slow football. They pass and move. You know, the way it used to always be way back before we were even born. But he's totally rebranded the club. He just leaves, you know. In my lifetime, he's been our best manager. You know, I have to say it. Now, I'm not comparing him with the big boys, you know what I mean. But in my lifetime, and for what I've seen from as long as I'm watching football, it's been the best brand of football you could ever imagine. And hopefully, and usually, you know, he set a base now for whoever comes on next. They have to continue what he said. This is the way we play football, and that's how it has to be now from now and forever. You know, that kind of way. And it's just nothing back with a Spurs point. If you can see a change with Ange playing that brilliant attacking football, you can sit and go, right, I can take another year, nothing. Because there's a process. You can see it in front of your own eyes. And that's what we've seen, and that's why we give him the time.
What's that? I mean, Klopp came in October 2015, and it took him the 1st of June 2019 they won his first trophy. So, you know, it took 3.5 years, and you could see in the 3.5 years up that. You could see in the 3.5 years up that trophy wasn't going to be far away because he lost 3 finals, didn't he? The Man City, Sevilla, and Real Madrid. So they were always coming. Callum, before I come back to Jared, go and talk me through some of your best moments that Klopp's give you as a Liverpool fan. It can be from obviously the trophy ones, the pull on his hamstring, run down the touchline at Spurs, the interview with Diaz Kelly on BT Sport where he went mad at the 12:30 kickoffs. There's been so many, but is there any one that stands out in your head?
Origi and the derby.
I mean, you could do your own podcast with just Klopp moments itself like that. There's that many. Like, I think it's recent in the memory, and I think it sums up his time very well at Liverpool. Was the cup one in February. They went with a bunch of Waynes that are younger than me, and you know what I mean, and they won a trophy, and your captain who's been there now for 4, 5, 6 years. They get the header in the 118th minute. They won the cup in front of the fans. I think that just sums up his time at Liverpool. Bleeding
Any
through.
Liverpool fans in the chat there, we can stick on your favourite moments as well. You can follow Darren. Sorry, Cam, go ahead.
I mean, there's a mountain of moments, but I think that day in February sums it up well. Just the young lads coming through, beating a Chelsea team that are worth over $1 billion. I think that's a good way to summarise it. And the new man comes in now, has to keep that going, like, you know what I mean? And I mean, all the big trophy ones. I went over to Paris too. Wasn't the best moment, but that day was brilliant. Like, and he's give us memories for a lifetime. Like, so that's all you can say. Like, and Man United as well. I was there after as well. I mean, you forget that many. There's so many. I mean, even like the Spurs podcast here, the minute I mind the 95th minute in the title race, Alderweireld trying to claw the ball back over in the 95th minute. There's so many. Like.
Jared, I want to bring you in there because you're obviously neutral. Some pundits, some broadcasters have suggested that when you look at the likes of Ferguson, Wenger, Mourinho, Pep, Klopp can't be put into that bracket because he hasn't won enough. Yes, Meats pointed out he won every trophy, but he only won a lot of them trophies once. I think the League Cup might have been the only one he won twice. You look at Ferguson, how many leagues he won. Wenger won numerous leagues. Mourinho won 3 in 2 different spells. Pep is now chasing 4 in a row, and he's done a treble. Would it be unfair to say that Klopp shouldn't be put into that bracket, or do you feel that them 4 just they had an extra level to them? Where do you see Klopp on that sort of bracket of them 4? Is he in it, or is he just short of that?
No, he's on it. If you take it with Wagner won with the Invincibles and had a fantastic team, and one of the best teams ever probably in the Premier League if you give it to them, but they never won a Champions League final, and all that Wagner done for Arsenal, they didn't win any European trophies. And to be fair, Arsenal has never been great in Europe. Spurs a better record in Europe, and with Arsenal has.
Yeah, to get that on.
That's a hard one there.
We haven't been too successful since there's 78 behind me, the Benfica game, or 68, isn't it? But anyhow, 84 UEFA Cup final. But anyhow, no, Klopp deserves to be there. Look, listen, when Pochettino come, he was the first manager in a long, long time that changed that way that he wanted football played. And then the next thing, Klopp come on, and Klopp done the same. He actually took it to a different level, and I have nothing but admiration for him. I like him as a character. I like him. There's times he would annoy me, but there's times, mostly better times. But at the end of the day, when you look at Chelsea, and Chelsea threw money at it, and City threw money at it, but Chelsea had that winning mentality. And Klopp had to work with. He did. Like, we lost Sané to Liverpool, and that. If Liverpool hadn't got Sané at that time, they wouldn't have had the whole team, the team they clicked to do what they done. Like to be fair, Pochettino, the difference in mentality with Pochettino and Klopp is Klopp won finals. We were in something like, was it 7 finals we got when he was with us, and we lost every one of them. Sorry, semi-finals and finals, and you know what I mean. So the difference is Klopp took Liverpool to a different level in that, and to be fair, he's only won 1 Premier League, but how many times have they been that close to making it 2? Should have 3,
yep.
Should have at least 3. But at the end of the day, when you look back on it, and you look back in the era we're in, Klopp deserves to be there as much as anybody else.
Cal, or let's come back to you, meet Sam, because you sort of raised that question at the start. Do you agree with Jared that Klopp's very much part of that bracket there? And I think probably him and Mourinho stand out to me as although a lot of rival fans wouldn't particularly like him because of how successful they were, but in terms of in front of the media, there's still elements that you must Mourinho's press conferences and you must him doing his interviews after games. I wouldn't necessarily say Wenger and Ferguson and even Pep are like that. They don't have that kind of personality, but Mourinho and Klopp stand out to me as two that we do miss Mourinho and we're going to miss Klopp next year on Sky Sports News or interviewed after a game that was always entertaining. You always wanted to watch them.
Definitely. And look, he was just like Ferguson, he was there for 20 plus years, whatever it was. So Klopp's only there 8. So, he hasn't had that longevity. They see what he might want in the next 12 years. So you can't really base it on that. We're not saying, he should be. It's just for what he's done to our club. You look at Pep. Pep's been blessed. Every club he went to, big budget, big players. He hasn't. Mourinho, big budget, big players. Every place he's went to. He's able to buy these hundreds of £1 million players. Wenger never won as Jared rightly put it there, never won a European Cup. So you can mix and match with all the managers that what they've done, but he's 100%. They come into a club with no budget, build it, a club that was on its knees, build it up to what it is now. We were worth something like 400 or 500 million. Now we're worth something like over 2 billion. Do you know what I mean? It's down to him. It's not down to anybody else but him. And for what he's achieving, what he's done for our club. So 100% is on that bracket. And I don't care. And it's just Man United fans, basically, that's going along this old nonsense. He's no Ferguson. Ferguson's had 12, 13, 14 more years at a club that he's had. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you cannot
different generations as well. You don't get them 20-year managers
exactly
anymore. So.
And Man United won leagues when they weren't getting challenged by nobody. They were running away with league titles. You know what I mean? And that's an absolute fact. Where we have come up against probably the best force in English football.
United famously won the league one year with 79 points.
They are, and
we got 79 points in the last 9 years.
90 odd points, you know what I mean? And we were bit twice by 1 point.
96 and 93 they got in the 2 years they lost to City.
It's a different kettle of fish now. It's a different time we live in.
97 was it not?
97 Man City got, was it?
What was it? I was around that, didn't I?
It was 97, 96 or 98, 97. It was one of the other, wasn't
it? Something like that.
And then I think the other year was 94, 93.
But even if the likes of Arsenal, if Arsenal go on and won the league now and won all the rest of their games, they'll have won the title with less points than we came second by twice. Do you know what I mean?
They could also, though, as well, feel the same pain as you and be the third team to get the 90 points or more and not win it. Obviously, Liverpool the first two, and Arsenal could finish on 90 and City 91. So it shows you that the boundaries have moved. Callum, Meats talked about where Liverpool are now as a club, what Klopp's built them up to be. A lot of people says it's going to be very difficult to follow Klopp, but should Arne Slot, who we assume it's going to be, should he be excited about coming into a club, a stable environment, with a very good squad that he can kick on and go again, as opposed to looking at the negative of going, you're never going to replace Klopp?
100%. I mean, in terms of how a club has been set up, I mean, he's been given a tap on, really. Like, he's, they got Hughes and Edwards back on, and they have a good squad there. I know we're not going to go on and win the title now, but with the likes of Salah, Van Dijk, Trent, Alisson, know them kind of main top 4 players, and then you have players on the up and coming. And I mean, if I was him, I'd be buzzing it. I'd be looking to get on the door as soon as that Wolves whistle's blown. I mean, it's a perfect setup for him now. He's going to have money to spend. I mean, Klopp has given him a tap on in terms of how a club should be set up to go on and kick on now. Like, he doesn't really have an excuse, I don't think. I mean, they'll say.
I mean, how long do you think this man needs to get Liverpool back to winning the league? I mean, how long do you think he should get, or how long do you think it'll take?
I mean, I think that's probably the only negative. As fans will probably want something quicker than we were talking about Ange there about like 20 minutes ago. About you're going to have to give him 3-4 years maybe. Whereas we're at a point now where, as I mentioned, Trent, Salah, Van Dijk, they're all in their 30s. I mean, they don't have time to sit with 3 or 4 years, so they're going to want to win. They're going to want to win now. But I think maybe if you're being nice, you'd have to give him a year to kind of set in, and then maybe go again the year after. I mean, even if he was to win a cup, like a League Cup again or something, they'd
So if we're sitting here basically in 2 years' time,
I mean,
we're in May, and we're talking about top 4 at 3. He's gone that summer.
I don't know. No, he won't be gone, but I mean, it just depends. I would need to see what's happened between that, but because like you could lose the likes of Salah, Van Dijk, whatever, and something can happen. Like, but
Final question, mates, because I want to bring Jared back on. You told me at the start of the year, Liverpool going into every season should be expecting the challenge for the league. Is that the same expectation this summer? That although it's a new manager, the expectation has to be to compete. Not maybe not winning it, but at least competing.
Oh, definitely, you have to be up there. You know, I mean, the top 4 still competing. Like, you know, I mean, you're still competing, like with the big boys. I actually, I'll be, you know, I mean, bring me on at the start of next season. I'll be saying we only won the league. You know, and it's just it's a mentality now we have, and it's a mentality I've always had. Liverpool Football Club should be challenging for league titles every single year that they step onto the pitch. It's just that simple. As Callum says, 100%, he's got the spinal squad there. What? No, I mean, just add it. The squad's there. It needs tweaking a wee bit of, you know, but a different coaching, maybe, you know, just bring out different, you know, traits in these players, different ways of playing football. You know the way. I don't know nothing about him. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm backing him 100%. He said, excuse me, he said the balls, they take the job. There's not many managers in world football will come in after Jurgen Klopp, and the fact that he has the balls to do it and step up the plate, that for me is enough. Says enough about him. That says enough about him that he's going to, you know, and give him a transfer kitty. Like we all know, I think the way it works now, Edwards picks the players, you know what I mean, points at them or whatever it may be. It has to. All he has to do is add to the squad. There's no overhaul needed. It just needs added to a wee bit of extra coaching in certain areas. You know what I mean? Tighten up a defence a wee bit. And there's absolutely no reason why he shouldn't be, you know, up and around there next year. But I would give him his 2 transfer windows. I'll give him.
You're starting to get some of these Liverpool fans excited.
But we don't usually do, you know, and then signing in January, we don't really usually do a lot of business in January. I don't know if that was just a Klopp thing. Maybe Klopp might, depend on injuries and that, but I would give him this transfer window and next, you know, definitely, because I believe that's enough time. 2 proper summer transfer windows with 2 January ones in between, I think is enough to bring in your own type of player.
Yep. Boys, let's get into the match for the weekend. We've talked about, obviously at the start, we talked a wee bit about it, but we sort of focused on both clubs. Jared, I want to come back to you. How do you see the game on Sunday? Are we going to see another fireworks Liverpool Spurs game? You know, sometimes these games where there's dead rubbers, it's either dump squads or it can be just 2 teams going at it, hell for leather. Do you feel that it's likely to be that? Because I think both teams have to respond because they've been on such poor form recently.
Well, on the Spurs perspective, I want to see a reaction from the 2 London derbies, 2 of fiercest rivals that we did play in the second half and did peg Arsenal back. But there was a no-show against Chelsea. So I want to see a reaction. I think Big Ange will change the team. I'm hoping he changes the team. Take Royal out of it completely and play Big Mickey at left back and bring Dragson and, you know what I mean, to give him a run, because his own agent's been saying if he doesn't get game time, he might consider his options. So I think he deserves a run on that team. I know he came on January or whatever, but like at the end of the day, he deserves a run the team. I think we have to freshen things.
Do you know what, Jared? Just on that point, I have got a wild feeling, and Callum, the mates, is going to laugh, but I have a wild feeling Lascelles is going to play left back in that inverted role.
Right, okay.
And he's brought him on there a couple of times. I know the game's nearly been over, but he hasn't really brought Dragson on. So, and I think, whilst that a lot of Spurs fans are saying about bringing Mickey in at left back because we're so short,
there's no way.
I think he likes Mickey at centre back because of his pace. So I think there's a chance he may play Lascelles as an inverted left back.
Not against Salah.
No, that's what I was going to say. It's Lascelles will be bit for pace every time. Then he's not quick. He's got it at his feet, but he's not quick. Well, you know, at the end of the day, I would play probably Højbjerg maybe in there before I would play Lascelles, like, you know what I mean? But again, no, I don't think that will happen, Gareth. I think he'll play. If he's going to change it, he'll. So
what's your team for Sunday? If it was you picking the team, what way would you go?
Well, obviously, Vicario and Nets and the 2 centre halves picks themselves. I would play Dragson along with him, along with
So you're going Toro right back, Van de Ven left back, Dragusin, Romero centre back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start 4 and play Lo Celso in the midfield. I would drop Kulusevski and play Madison further forward and have somebody in there to support the back 4, which would probably have to play Basuma, but he needs a kick in the hole at the moment. I will play like Johnson. Johnson's the pace, but he seems to lack in
belief.
And Son, I play Son out wide and play Richardson through the middle. Richardson will be up for Liverpool, and whether he's fit enough, down through the years of the Merseyside derby, Richardson always, Liverpool fans hated him for the way he played against Liverpool.
If he scores this time, he might keep his shirt on at the end of the game.
Well, that's it. But I don't look. At the end of the day, the season's over, and Ryan's will be stubborn and say this is the way I play, and I'm sticking with it, and just play his normal team and look for a reaction out of the boys, which I think he probably will do. If it was me, I would change it. Like I would definitely change that defence. I would take Royal out of it, but
I think he will. I think it's our Van de Ven at left back, or he'll play Lo Celso as inverted left back. I think he'll definitely not play Royal again. I think Royal's played his last game. Callum, me or Jared talked through the Spurs team here, and that resident. Does that strike fear into you at all? I mean, we're scratching around for options here at the moment.
I mean, that's music to our ears, really, because we still really have a full squad. Really, it's just more bad form we're speaking about, whereas you're kind of scrambling to get an 11 fit, really. I mean, if you were to play that back 4, I think we'd have a field day, to be honest. I mean, but I think your best chance to score against us is in the first 5 minutes. I mean, go look at our home games this year. I mean, Sheffield United had a clear chance within 30 seconds. I mean, I'd be setting up a plan to get a chance to go in the first 5 minutes, because we just seem to switch off. We don't really start. We're a second half team. I think
this game's just going to be goals galore. Mates, final question to you. How important do you think it is for Liverpool to go out with a bang on their Klopp in these last 3 games?
That's massive. I think it's just about the occasion now. And again, that's what it's going to be about tomorrow. It's just all about the occasion. The fans are going to be up for it. It's going to be emotional, I would imagine. There's going to be a lot of passion involved. The players, for what he's provided them, he's coached them to so many medals in his tenure. I think they owe it to him. They go out and show a wee bit of pride and passion and to play for him, really. I don't even think, not even about playing for the shirt now at this stage. Like, we're out of everything. I think it's just to go out and show a wee bit of appreciation for him as a thank you. Go out now and genuinely, I'd be saying, like, go out and blow them away. And it has to click. It hasn't clicked all year. Especially the last 7 games, we're missing all these chances. And, if you are really struggling to put a side out like that there, and it does click for us, it could be quite embarrassing. If it does, if we can finish the ball, because we're going to create so many chances, and we're going to give away chances too. Don't get me wrong, and I don't think Van Dijk might be playing tomorrow. So he's probably our best player in there. Me and Callum on, but he has much training. So whether that happens or not, I don't know. It's going to be emotional. You know what I mean? I'll be sitting with my pipe in my hand, wondering and sitting thinking back about all the glory we've had in the last 5-6 years. So no, it's just he deserves it. You know what I mean? And he's trying his best. And all his press conferences, they take it away from him, but it's just not going to work. It's all about they play for. So no, good luck to him, and it's going to be entertaining.
Yep, I agree. Jared, before we predict the outcome of the game, Spurs haven't lost 4 Premier League games in a row for over 20 years. I mean, it almost happened. Remember, they lost 3 in a row this year, and then they had Man City away next, and they were within seconds of breaking that record, and Kulusevski scores with his shoulder. They get a 3-3 draw. I mean, and that was arguably as tough as this game is. Maybe even that was a harder game going to Man City, even though Spurs have had probably better recent results against Man City. But I mean, is the record going to be broke on Sunday, or do you think maybe this is a good omen for Spurs that they tend not to lose 4 Premier League games in a row?
Well, I think we'll know in the first 10 minutes. Spurs have to go to Anfield and fight. If they want to win that game, they have to go with a different mentality. A fighting mentality, a winning mentality, first to everything. And that's the only way we're going to get a result against Liverpool. Like, in all honesty, we take teams like Sheffield United, they can have all the fight they want, but they haven't got it tactically, or they haven't got the players tactically and technically to do that. But if we go first 10 minutes, will show if we're confident enough, complacent enough, we'll do okay. If we can hold Liverpool as long as we can, it'll get to the crowd, and that's our best chance, and sort of pick it off. And you take Son always plays well against Liverpool. Of all the teams, he seems to come under his own against Liverpool too. Like, you know, he doesn't always score, but he always seems to have a decent game. Like, you know what I mean? It depends. If Big Van Dijk's out, I would take that as a good omen for us.
What's your score prediction?
3 each.
3 each. Callum, what about you?
If Van Dijk's not on, I'll go 3 each. If Van Dijk else on, I'll go 3-2.
Mates, what about you?
4-1.
4-all.
4-1.
4-1. Do you know what? These games are always.
What's your
I think maybe we're GA1 there, or are we GA beaten there? Because even though we've not been the best for years, they've always been tight games. So I think I could go either way. I'm going to sit the fence. Call
Who's
it 2-2
reffing
draw.
Who's reffing it?
Paul Tierney ref the game last year. It was very favourable. Very
Jesus.
favourable to Liverpool, if you remember. Skip got his head kicked off, and Jota somehow stayed on, scored a winner. But we will see. I'm going 2-2. Jared's going 3-3. Callum going 3-2 or 3-3, depending on Van Dijk's availability, and Meets is going very bullishly for 4-1-1. Lads, we've got about 10 minutes before 12:30, and I do want to get off because I know a lot of people are looking to watch Arsenal Bournemouth or the Championship final day, whatever you pick your pick at 12:30. So normally we would preview these games, but I'm just going to ask the lads for quick score predictions. Luton and Everton drew 1-1 last night, so that leaves Luton in quite a precarious position depending on what happens with Forest today. Boys, just going to ask you, go around the room, just give me your score predictions for all the games. All right, so Jared, Arsenal Bournemouth.
2-1 Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth's going to just finish it today.
Hopefully. Callum, Arsenal Bournemouth.
1-0 Arsenal.
Mates.
3-1 Arsenal.
Brentford Fulham, Jared.
1 each.
Callum.
2 each.
Mates.
2-2.
Burnley Newcastle, massive game for Burnley, Jared.
I'm going 2-0 Burnley. They've started to turn. I've come late for them in the season, but they're starting to play well, and they don't score a lot of goals, but I think they'll get 2 today. 2-0.
Callum.
2-1 Newcastle.
Mates.
1-1.
Forest, massive opportunity to give themselves some daylight in the risk for relegation. Will they get it today, Jared?
The better squad between the two, so I go Forest 3-0. The big man scoring 2.
Callum.
I'm gonna go 2-1 again, Forest.
Mates.
1-0 Sheffield United.
Any shocks at the Etihad, Jared?
No, big game there. Wolves are out in their feet. That showed the last many games. So I go 2-0 Man City.
I'll go 3-0 City.
I'm going 4-0 City.
Brighton, Villa won this. Surely top 4 is guaranteed. Will he do it, Jared?
No, I think they've showed out again at home to Olympiacos. They're tired. And if we had been at ourselves with concentration and even putting on a performance on Thursday night, we would have popped them. We still might do it, an outside chance, but I think Brighton will show them up this week. I'm going 2-1 Brighton.
If Brighton won and Spurs beat Liverpool, right, Jared, they're 4 points behind Villa with a game in hand. Would you be on the Spurs side then? They beat Man City, they possibly hand Arsenal league, or are you very much the one Arsenal win at all costs?
No, I hope he puts the young boys out against City. If Arsenal won the league, you'll not see me for 6 months on social media. I'm telling you now.
Callum, Brighton, Villa.
I'm gonna back Jared. I'm gonna go for 2-1 Brighton 1.
Mates.
I'm going to echo the boys. I think that midweek performance from Villa is going to take it out of them, and I think Brighton 2-1 as well.
Jesus, I tell you what, that would make 4 very interesting if Spurs were to have a way back under the top 4 race. Sunday as well, Chelsea, West Ham, Jared.
London Derby again. I like what Poch is doing there. You think of the injuries he's had and the way he gets them players to believe. At times, they've performed all right and performed badly. They've got the best player in the Premier League playing for them at the minute. And West Ham are looking for another manager. So I think it'll be 2-1 to Chelsea.
Callum?
We made West Ham look good last week. They are shocking. 3-1 Chelsea.
Chelsea, your favourites for 6th?
Yeah.
Aye.
Mates? Chelsea, West Ham?
I'm going to echo what the boys are saying. I genuinely think Pochettino's done a brilliant job. I really do.
Probably 6th. That'll be some position from where they were.
And with what he's been up against.
They had 14 first-team players out there, aren't they, against Spurs? Mm-hmm. So he's not had a lot of players to pick from.
It was the same as Liverpool West Ham. We made them look good too because we didn't turn up. But at the end of the day, I like what Poch is doing there. So
2-0 Chelsea.
Recap. Me and Jared went for 2-2 and 3-3. Callum 3-2. I'm going to say because he's not going to change the 3-3 and Meets the same 4-1. And finally, Monday Night Football, bank holiday football. You can take your pick. You can watch Crystal Palace, Man United, or you can take yourself to Brandywell and watch Derry take on league leaders Shelbourne at 8:15. That's where I'll be. Jared, how's this game going to go? Crazily, I don't know how. Well, maybe it's fact, but Crystal Palace are actually favourites for this game.
Well, I put them favourites there. There's a lot of shit happening at United, and obviously the manager's going to lose his job, and that's another new man to come on there. It's down to the players, and when you look at the players they have in their team, the only match that United could really get up for this year, and to be fair, as the guys alluded to, they never had a shot against them on the full 45 minutes. But Crystal Palace has sort of turned the corner since Roy's left, and that other coach, Glasner's buying form. Buying form. So I think Crystal Palace will won 2-3-0. Either or. I can't see United scoring.
Callum?
Boys, United, I've never seen a team like it that can go through games getting dominant and still somehow find a result, and it wouldn't shock me if they done it again. I'm going to go for a 1 each. I just think they'll get battered and they'll probably still get a result.
Mates, what about you? You watching this game or are you watching the Derry Shelbourne game on Virgin Media?
No, I'll be watching the Derry match myself, but I fancy Crystal Palace a horrible football ground to go to. I just despise it. Selhurst Park's just a brutal stadium to go to, and I fancy United's. I can't even speak about them. They're going to get bit 2-0 now.
Who you supporting the FA Cup final?
City all day long. All day long.
Boys, I only think these are coming on.
Brilliant United fans will be supporting City.
Brilliant podcast for these boys as always. I want to thank the viewers for the comments. Literally in the next 2 minutes, you'll have your pick Arsenal Bournemouth, or as me and Meets have already says off camera, we're going to be watching the Championship final day. Ipswich need 1 point at home to Huddersfield to confirm their promotion to the Premier League. Leeds at home to Southampton are hoping for a Huddersfield 1, and it would then give them an opportunity to get on that second spot. Boys, excellent as always. If you're new around here, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos. We'll be coming to the very end very shortly as the Premier League draws to a close. Boys, enjoy your bank holiday weekend. Enjoy the football. And come on, you Spurs on Sunday.
Cheers, lad. All the best. Cheers.
See you.